Let's now head into our top focus this morning. India participated in the area formula meeting of the United Nations Security Council on what can the Security Council do to support the peace process in Afghanistan, where the permanent representative of India to the United Nations, T.S. Tirumurthy, slammed Pakistan for destabilising Afghanistan. Outlining requirements for peace and stability in Afghanistan, India exposed how Pakistan has not allowed the full transit rights to Afghanistan. The Indian envoy said that the transit rights of Afghanistan should not be used by countries to extract political price from Afghanistan. Pakistan has obstructed the flow of persons and materials outside of Afghanistan, which has impacted the India-Afghanistan trade. Afghanistan's transit trade agreement was signed in 1965, which granted the country the right to import duty-free goods through Pakistani seaports.
It is important to ensure that the issue of full transit rights to Afghanistan is not used by states to extract political price from Afghanistan. The international community should discourage medieval mentalities and work towards removal of artificial transit barriers imposed on Afghanistan. It should ensure all transit rights guaranteed to Afghanistan under bilateral and multilateral transit agreements operate without any hindrance. India remains committed to working with the international community towards achieving this shared objective.
During the discussions on the crucial aspects of the Afghan peace process, India warned Pakistan that the terror flow across the Durand Line must stop immediately. The Indian envoy has denounced Pakistan and criticized it heavily for its continued role in providing a safe haven to terrorists and creating obstacles for India to access Afghanistan. He said that it is important indeed to ensure that no one provides sanctuary to terrorists who threaten Afghanistan or any other country in the region, and those who do so must be held accountable. The statement comes from India as the United States has announced further cuts in the number of the US troops which are currently stationed in Afghanistan.
There needs to be zero tolerance of terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. Afghanistan can succeed only when terrorism is no longer flows across the Durand Line. Terror and violence cannot be instrument to shape Afghanistan's future or dictate the choices Afghans make. It is important to ensure that no one provides sanctuary to terrorists who threaten Afghanistan or any other country in the region. Those who do so must be held accountable.
Now, for more details on India's recent stand against Pakistan, joining us live is our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibil. A very good morning to you, Siddhant. Now, India has yet again criticized Pakistan, and the permanent representative of India to the UN, T.S. Tirumurthy, slammed Pakistan for destabilizing the nation. Tell us more about India's strong stance in this situation.
Well, the issue of terrorism emanating from Pakistan is a major concern regionally and globally, whether it's Kabul, New Delhi or Tehran. All the three countries, India, Afghanistan and Iran, sharing borders with Pakistan, have raised the concern how Pakistan has been using terrorism as a state policy and is the epicenter of terrorism. Number of terror attacks within India or Afghanistan have led their center point or the origin to Pakistan, to terror camps in the country. But what makes this statement significant is because it's the most comprehensive statement by India on Afghanistan at the United Nations Security Council, and of course for three important things. First, of course, the statement comes at a time when the peace process is underway, especially the intra-Afghan talks between the Afghan government and Taliban, but it looks like it is not going anywhere. Secondly, because the Americans have announced that they're going to substantially reduce troops in Afghanistan. And thirdly, India is going to be a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council from 1st January 2021. That is just few weeks from now, and that is why it makes it significant. But other than that, the issue of terrorism, of course, dominating the comprehensive speech by the Indian envoy. The key focus areas were other as well, which include the transit issue, because we know that Pakistan is not allowing a land route from India to Afghanistan. For that, India has also found a way. First, of course, the India-Afghanistan air corridor that came into being in 2017. And another one is the Chabar project, the project backed by India, built by India in Iran, and helping connectivity with rest of the Central Asian countries as well. But one thing that stood out this year when it comes to connectivity with Afghanistan is that India sent 75,000 metric ton of wheat to Afghanistan via the Chabar port to help Afghanistan deal with the COVID crisis. And this would have not been possible without the Chabar port, because in the past, whenever India has tried to give humanitarian aid to Afghanistan, Pakistan has blocked it.
Right. Now, Siddhant, that actually brings me to my second question. India also says that Pakistan has not allowed full transit powers to Afghanistan, which is what you just mentioned. So how damaging has Pakistan's stance been in destabilizing Afghanistan, and what are the global implications of the same when it comes to trade?
Well, when it comes to the damaging influence of Islamabad in Kabul, it is written in history how the Pakistanis have been providing safe havens to terrorists who are trying to destabilize Afghanistan. In fact, one of the main policies of Islamabad, unwritten policy of Islamabad, is to have a bleeding India and a destabilized Afghanistan. They want to have a significant influence in Kabul, and they find that coming very soon, given the fact that they believe that the American troops will be gone and soon Islamabad will be ruling the roost in Kabul. But if we look at the global implications, the terror sanctuaries when it comes to Pakistan and Af-Pak border. Remember, a UN report had come earlier this year and had talked about how approximately 6,000 Pakistani nationals involved in terror activities are in Afghanistan, and that was something that was highlighted globally as well. So a destabilized Afghanistan will provide sanctuaries to Pakistan-based terror organization, and that is, of course, the global concern. But the other issues the Indian envoy highlighted, other than the transit issue and the issue of terrorism, were, of course, the Afghan peace process. India talked about a comprehensive ceasefire. That is a significant statement coming by the Indian envoy from New York. And other than that, the safeguarding of the rights of women and minorities, something that India has raised concerns. In fact, this year saw a significant move that India allowed number of Afghan Sikhs and Hindus to come to India, and the Afghan peace process is something that India has been a stakeholder. In fact, we know that just few weeks ago, 3 important visits happened from Kabul to New Delhi, which include the visit by the chief Afghan negotiator for the intra-Afghan talks, Dr. Abdullah. In speaking to WION, he said that India has played an important development role in Afghanistan since the fall of Taliban in 2001.
All right, Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast and for all your insights.